So Disney have finally released a teaser trailer for The Mandalorian, and The Mandalorian is another Star Wars story type element series, which goes into the same kind of aspect as Solo did, with it exploring a different side of the Star Wars universe, which isn't the Skywalker saga. And I think that's a brilliant idea because the amount of people that are still excited about the Star Wars Skywalker saga, I think, are quite in the minimum at the moment of actual Star Wars fans. Just today, they released the uh, overview of the new film. See, I can't even remember the name of it. Rise of Skywalker, Rise of the Skywalker. Who knows what it is anymore? I don't think people care, and I'm I'm with that team that don't really give too much a hoots, because I will go and see it. I will watch the new film, but I can't say there's much hype been built in towards that. However, when they released the teaser trailer for The Mandalorian, I thought I'd give it a quick watch, see what it was like. I mean, I'd heard story elements in little bits here, like only tidbits, though. I have kind of been completely blank on most of it. So when I saw the teaser trailer, I was going into it kind of fresh and clean, and I think that was really good because what I saw I really enjoyed. I mean, the opening shots of the Stormtrooper helmets just say it's the original kind of Star Wars, which has been lacking. I mean, even though the new trilogy takes place after Return of the Jedi, it still feels very new. And one of the things I really liked about the old series is kind of the dirty, kind of grim aspect of the rebellion fighting against the kind of clean orthodox empire, and in that situation I think Star Wars really finds its home, and that is where I like it. The prequel series, again, everything was clean and new and shiny. That kind of made sense because it was a prequel series to the originals, but the newer sequels with that, I just don't enjoy that too much. But The Mandalorian fits right into that kind of crevice where you've got droids again, you've got bounty hunters, you've got a grimy underworld, like kind of a Mos Eisley feel that it's going for. The story I don't know too much about, but it looks more grounded. That's something that the Skywalker saga as to date has not been at all. It's been going off on multiple different directions in a weird storytelling narrative. I'm not too sure what's really going on at the moment, because we were told about Rey's parents not being anything. You were told about Han coming back and then doing God knows what all those years. Leia's doing something. Luke. It just feels kind of we'll fit the pieces together as we come to the end, and that can come from having maybe different directors with different visions. I know J.J. Abrams didn't have an idea too much where he started. He likes to set up the kind of big mysteries and then carry them forward. Obviously, when someone else takes over from that next film, those can get a bit muddled and lost. That is why I'm so happy to see a Star Wars with a fresh kind of slate. The Mandalorian comes in with a character I do not know about. I mean, there's rumours it could be Boba Fett, and I say rumours, it's just people saying that, and that's pretty much all they say. Or it could be Boba Fett. It's like, we don't know that. There's no confirming. I mean, he freezes people in carbonite. That could be a hint. And the helmet does look a lot like it, but it's a Mandalorian helmet. Maybe, who knows? And then he's got a great cast. I can't remember his name, but Gus Fring from Breaking Bad. I mean, he was a great villain in that, and I like to see what he would do to that Star Wars series. But I mean, the helmet, the style, the Star Warsiness of it makes me excited for Star Wars, which I haven't been in a long time. And I really enjoy kind of the grimy side story, which isn't big Star Killer base we need to destroy, and it's the end of everything we know is good versus evil. I just want to see a side story in this world that isn't focused on this. And I mean, even Solo did it, where it went into a completely side story of then bringing in Darth Maul. Why did Darth Maul need to be at the end of that film? I still don't know. I don't really think he needed to be there. I think it would have worked well if I don't know if it was the original vision, because I know the director switched, or maybe the writing team, but it would have been nice to see a solo film where it wasn't so guided. And obviously, with it being Han Solo, it had to kind of build into that and had to have some kind of relation to the larger saga. But still, it's like there's a great universe that the Star Wars saga has, an expanded universe I'm not too familiar with, but there are so many different branching stories which come off of that and that people are in love with. And when Disney took over, obviously that became, I think, the Legacy or Legends, Star Wars Legends maybe, and that became its own separate thing, and they weren't part of the Star Wars Skywalker canon. So I'd like to see what they do say is canon, and The Mandalorian looks to be picking this up with kind of its approach, and I'm all for that. I'm all for a Star Wars which I can actually get excited for and isn't focusing on Rey or Luke. As great as those characters are, Luke is still a great character, but the rise of Skywalker might kind of taint that. It did The Last Jedi. It just didn't feel like the Luke from Return of the Jedi, and so I think we should leave those characters alone. And I'm eager to see characters I don't know. I mean, elements. I want to see Star Destroyers. I want to see maybe even X-wings, Y-wings, all the wings. Bring them all in, but make it a separate story. I want something that's kind of a Rogue One again. It felt like it was almost going in that direction until someone stepped in and said this needs to relate to the Death Star, and it needs to happen 10 seconds before the beginning of A New Hope. Again, tying it into the saga, I think, damages the storytelling narrative that it kind of builds itself into. And I like the idea of a Mandalorian bounty hunter going off and doing wild adventures. I mean, imagine Serenity Firefly kind of type adventures, but in the Star Wars universe, and that's exciting stuff, because that's what people, I think, still want to see. And I believe it was fairly tainted from the last few films that we haven't really had a chance to kind of explore those ideas, and because it's being so stuck to Rey's story, and I mean even bringing back Palpatine, the new film, it feels very much we don't know what we're doing and we want to please all the fans. Now, Jon Favreau making this Mandalorian series is kind of my cure to that Rise of Skywalker. It feels separate, it feels new. I mean, it looks dark. A guy almost gets cut in half by a door. I mean, the kind of the guy, the main Mandalorian, doesn't say anything. I don't know his name, but he seems very cool, like Boba Fett did. Boba Fett was silent. He was in the background of Empire. He had a very brief screen time, but people still thought he was the coolest thing because of the armor, the attitude, the aesthetic of it all, and put that into a series with good writing and good direction, and I think it will be onto a winner. Now, obviously, we don't know that. We won't know that till November 12th or 2020 when it actually reaches out into different areas of the world, but I can finally for once say I'm looking forward to a Star Wars property that I haven't done since, the idea of Force Awakens, probably, because it was a good film, but it was a rehash of Episode 4, and it wasn't a bad film. J.J. Abrams did a good job, but it kind of built up this expectation that we were going to see something great come from it, and it feels like not a lot has come from the whole Disney buying Star Wars at the moment. God admits that the actual George Lucas idea of where the episode, was it 7, 8 and 9 could have gone in his vision, sounded completely batshit crazy. So I didn't want to see that, but also it feels like a lot of creativity is missing. It feels like they've tried to kind of make Star Wars something completely different, and something that I don't think many people wanted to see. Now, Mandalorian, if we go into it, like Firefly mixed with Mass Effect, kind of real down-to-earth story ground elements, kind of bringing together bounty hunting missions. A marker episode, imagine how cool that would be. You're on a different planet, you can have Tatooine, like, we wouldn't be too tired of seeing them because they'd be doing something different and going on different avenues. But I am so looking forward to The Mandalorian, and I really hope it delivers something good, because I feel if it can be a kind of breath of fresh air for Star Wars, and I think that's what's really needed at the moment. So fingers crossed that this can actually do some good in the Star Wars name, and if it can, I'm so hyped for it. And if not, I guess we'll wait for The Rise of Skywalker to be somewhat disappointed, I'm gonna guess again. Although it will wrap the Skywalker saga up, and we'll see what they do next. And I think if the next property is the one done by the Game of Thrones writers and directors, Star Wars is dead. But if not, hopefully The Mandalorian and Jon Favreau, if we put our faith in him, he gave us Iron Man, I believe it might be something great. But that's my opinion. So fingers crossed for The Mandalorian. Let it be good.